take.
Now, where does your inspiration come from?
I like to believe that my inspiration comes from God.
Did you always believe that?
No, as you grow older, you learn and you start to you get smarter. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Prince Podcast here on Podcast Juice. My name is Michael Dean, and today we got another special one, what we like to call our Masterclass series, where we talk to some of Prince's closest associates, people who have been working with them. Today we are joined by none other than Kim Berry. Kim, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed. I can't complain right now. All right. So where are you calling us from, Kim? Where are you at right now? Part of the country?
I'm in Los Angeles, California.
Oh, you in L.A.? Okay.
Yes.
That's what's up. So for those who don't know, Kim was the personal hairstylist for Prince for, I want to say, over 25 years. Is that correct, Kim?
Yes, 29 to be exact.
29. Yes. That's a lifetime.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
All right.
We grew up together.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get into, if we can, really, because, and there's the thing, too. I know a lot of my listeners, we got a lot of younger ladies out here that I at least know, that I know personally from my area, that do hair and different things of that nature, and want to go somewhere in life and what's possible and what they can do. So I really wanted to talk to you and get your story to figure out, like, how did you go to work for one of our icons, one of our legends, Prince? How did you get that opportunity to work with him? And what I really want to do start is, really just kind of set the groundwork. Where are you from, actually?
I'm born and raised Los Angeles, California. My mom is from North Carolina. My dad is from Tennessee. So everyone thinks I'm from the country, but I'm born and raised in L.A.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind me asking, when did they sort of migrate up to the West Coast then?
They've been here a long time. Over 40, maybe 45 years ago.
Okay.
So they've been here a long time.
All right. Now, do you have other brothers and sisters? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I'm the baby. 5 boys, and I'm the baby.
Oh, okay. So you're the baby of the crew. Now, my understanding, you graduated in 87? Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so we're from the same area because I graduated in 88. So that kind of gives me some framework to where you come from. You in L.A., South Central back in the 80s when a lot of stuff was popping off back then.
Exactly.
What was that like in terms of your childhood?
I was a Valley kid, so, my mom kept us, pretty sheltered. So we were on the straight and narrow. My brothers, I had a couple brothers that tried to find trouble, but for the most part, everybody stayed on the straight and narrow. And so I was a Valley kid, so I was free from hurt, harm, or danger. I had to come through the hood to get home, but I was okay. I made it.
Okay. Well, what high school did you go to?
El Camino Real in Woodland Hills.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to see. I know you're going to, hopefully you know where this is from, and hopefully my information is correct. What do the words mean, and who said that success is where opportunity meets preparedness? Excuse me.
That would be my dad. Yeah, that was just all growing up. He used to tell us all the time, success is when opportunity meets preparedness. Like when the opportunity presents itself, will you be prepared? Mm-hmm. And sure enough, if you like Sugar-Free say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
So that worked out perfectly for us.
Okay. So now, what's your dad's name, if you don't mind me asking?
Donald Berry. Uh-huh.
Mr. Berry. Okay. So Donald Berry, you have that role model right there in the home then to instill this whole mindset into you, which, is a thing that we, as our community, we working to keep that type of, strong male thing there in the family. Now, with that background that you got from your dad coming from that situation, talk to me about You graduated from 87. What's your aspirations at this point? You get fresh out of school.
Well, actually, I was going to be like any other kid. I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, but I had told my mom after I got through school, I was a straight A student, B student, and I was like, I've done everything that I was required to do. I got that diploma. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm going to take a year off school and just chill. And so she said, okay, cool, so she was going to let me just take a breather for a minute, and then after a couple months, she said, okay, what you gonna do now? And I said, wait a minute, I thought I get to take a year off school. She said, no, you gonna go get a job, you gonna go to school, or you gonna get out of my house. I'm like, okay. So, there I went stumping up the street and walked into Pacific Beauty College, and the rest was history.
Hilarious. Your mom said rent's due. Damn, a vacation.
Right.
I hear that. So you went to the beauty school. Now, how long were you in the school? And talk to me in terms of when did you get the opportunity to meet Prince, or at least get into that world?
School was about a year long, but I finished it in 9 months because I didn't want to be there.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I didn't miss a day. I knocked it down and went on in there and got my certificate and came on out. But one of the guys was one of Prince's bodyguards, Big Coco, and so he was working for Prince already as a bodyguard. And so I had already been hanging around them and, knew about the entertainment industry because he worked with so many other celebrities.
Okay.
So I knew about the entertainment world. So he started taking me around, and I became friends with Tanya, who was the hairstylist at the time. And she was just saying, this wasn't what she wanted to do any longer. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, you work for one of the biggest entertainers in the world. How do you mean this is not what you want to do? Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, Kim, you don't get it. And if you ever get the opportunity, you'll see, it's very taxing doing this job. And so she was like, I'm ready to quit. I'm ready to go home. But, I was like, oh, she's just having a rough day. She's going to be all right. And then yet another day she complained about it. We were hanging out. Every time they would come to LA, she's like, Kim, come hang out. We're going to a party. Come hang out. We're doing a video. So one particular day, they were shooting a video, and, I'm on set, and I'm ironing clothes and hanging out. Now, the whole time, I'm watching her table. I'm looking at all the hairspray, all the gel, everything that she's using. And I'm like, okay, so I'm duplicating everything she has because I'm already in beauty school. So I said, well, she got to be using it as a celebrity hairstylist. It must be good.
Right.
So I'm duplicating everything on her table. So this one particular day, they were shooting a music video, and she went into the room with Prince, and she came back out, and she said, I think I'm going to quit today. I said, you are not going to quit. Like, knock it off. She goes, no, I think I'm going to quit. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. She's like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home, and I want to, go back to my regular life. So she definitely, they went in the room, and they got into a little spat, and she told him, she said, my lips are chapped from kissing your little black behind. I'm out of here. And she packed her stuff and left. But because he's Prince, he's used to talking crazy to you, and he knows you're going to be there the next day. Well, not Tanya. She packed her stuff and left. So...
Can I stop you for 1 second? Can I stop you for a second? You got me rolling over here. Now, shout out to Tanya. But you saying so she's working for Prince doing his situation, but she don't want to do that anymore. She wasn't built for that for whatever reasons.
Yes.
And I like how you said you was there doing something else. You was ironing clothes, helping out, but you was peeping game and had your eye to see what she was working with. What products is she doing? Absolutely. Oh, is this how they do it? Okay, yep. Let me get what they got because this is what's working for.
Right.
I peeped the game on that. I understand what you're doing right there. So you really scoping out the situation, assessing yourself and what's going on. Now, was she your friend? Is that what it was? Your relationship was?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were cool.
Okay.
So that's what made it so beautiful. So I was, would always talk to her about, okay, well, why are you using this hairspray? Why are you using this hair gel? So everything worked.
And to
everything
be clear,
worked. You
were doing hair already? Like on the side, or what was that?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. I had just completed beauty school.
Okay.
So it worked out perfectly. So that's why I said when my dad was like, when opportunity meets preparedness, will you be prepared? And sure enough, the opportunity presented itself, and when she quit, and they went to Germany, and Prince told the bodyguard, tell Tanya get the salon ready, and they said, no, Tanya quit. And he said, what do you mean? So you have me going out of town with no hairstylist? Because that's what he traveled with, a hairstylist and a bodyguard at all times.
Okay.
And they were like, well, yeah, no, we don't have a hairstylist. So they hired somebody there in Germany, but when they came back, I was waiting on them. I had my portfolio ready, and the bodyguard told me we're going to be at this certain club at a certain time. I walked up to the table, laid my portfolio on the table. I said, look, I know you don't have a hairstylist. I said, my name is Kim Berry. So he's seen me around, but he didn't know who I was.
Okay.
Because he's always watching, surveying the room, so he knows who's around him at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, so you're a hairstylist? I said, yes. He said, you have a salon? I said, yes, of course. He said, okay, go set it up. So I go to set up the salon, so I knew her techniques. I blacked out the windows. I got everything ready. I set up my station. So about an hour later, the phone rings. Hey, Kim. You're like, yes, this is Prince. I'm like, this is who? He said, this is Prince. And I'm like, okay. And he said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it. And I said, okay, well, no problem. Next time you come to L.A., I said, just know that I'll be available for you, that you have a hairstylist in Los Angeles. So he said, okay, no problem. He said, but do you travel? And now, mind you, I'm 18 years old, never left Inglewood, let alone California. And he said, I said, yeah. And he said, okay. He said, well, the flight leaves in an hour. You know, we're sending a limo to come pick you up. I said, what? He said, problem? I said, no. He says, okay. He said, well, the car will be there in an hour. I said, okay. So I hung up the phone. I called my mother immediately. I'm like, oh, my God, I just spoke to Prince. She's like, quit lying. I said, no, for real. I just spoke to Prince. And so I was like, he just said the flight leaves in an hour. They're sending a car to come get me. I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know clothes. And she said, you better take your hairspray and your curlinizer and get on that plane. I'm like, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. So I packed up my hairspray and my curlinizer. Sure enough, limo pulled up. I grabbed what I had. She said, when you get to Minnesota, find the nearest Target, and I'm going to send you some money. Go get you some clothes and keep rolling. So I was like, okay. So I jumped on the plane. That was Christmas Eve, I believe, like 90, 91. And the rest was history.
Wow.
I pulled up. So I seen snow for the first time. The gates opened to Paisley Park, and I could not believe it because it was like a myth to me. Like Paisley Park really exists. Right. And I see this snow-covered building. I'm like, oh, my God. So we pull in, and it's his brother and like 4 or 5 other women in the building. And he said, they take me upstairs to the hair salon. I go do his brother's hair, and I do these 4 or 5 other women. And he said, okay, well, you know, give me a few minutes. Prince will be in a minute. So what was supposed to be a minute turned into 2.5 hours. I said, what in the world? I was like, what is going on? I said, but they think I'm in this room. I can see the Purple Rain jacket. I see the Raspberry Beret outfit. I'm like, wow. So I'm like, it's really happening. It's going down. So I'm sitting there. Now, my mother didn't raise no fool. So I said, when you go in somebody else's house, you sit with your, with your hands in your lap.
Right.
You don't touch nothing that don't belong to you.
Right.
I sat right there for 2.5 hours. His brother stuck his head in the door. The first thing he said, you didn't steal nothing, did you? I said, excuse me? I said, my mother didn't raise no fools. I said, but I do have to go to the bathroom. You play too much.
That's stare.
I said, so he started laughing. He said, I'm sorry, sis. You didn't have to sit there. You should have said something. I said, no, I'm not walking around nobody else's house. This is this man's house. I'm not doing that. So finally, he said, showed me to the restroom. I come back. He said, okay, for real, he'll be in a few minutes. I said, don't you leave me here for another 2.5 hours. He said, no, I'm not going to do that to you. So about 10 minutes later, Prince sticks his head in the door. And back in the day, 87, 89, that was long fingernails, SWV time. He says, I had long fingernails. He says, yeah, well, you got the job, because the other people were my audition. So he said, you got the job. He said, but you got to leave them nails at the house. He said, I'm tender-headed. You can't have those nails in my hair. I said, oh, okay. I started breaking them off one by one. Click, click, click,
hilarious.
Click, click, click. So he started laughing. He said, yeah, you going to work. He said, go back to the hotel. We leaving for Miami in the morning. I said, huh? He said, go back to the hotel, get some rest. So mind you, I'm like, oh, my God. So I just got hired working for one of the biggest entertainers in the world. Wow. Mind you, I hadn't touched his hair. So we flew to Miami. We stayed there a week. I never did his hair. We went to Atlanta. We stayed there a few days. Never did his hair. Finally, he said, Kim, pack your bags. We're going to New York. Now, I've been to almost, 4 or 5 states in less than 2 weeks. I called my mother. I said, I don't know what's going on. The man ain't got his hair done. I said, who lives like this? She said, you do. I said, oh. So that's when I realized I was in a whole new reality right then. I was like, it was amazing. So finally got to New York, set the salon up. His brothers tried to scare me. They were like, don't touch his face. Don't look him in the, don't spill water on him. Don't put color on him. Don't do. I said, look here. Now, how am I going to do all that? I can't touch the man. So they had me all spooked out. When he walked in the room, I was like, Kim, just relax. You got this. I said, this is what you do. You've been trained to do just this. So he walked in. I did his hair. He looked in the mirror. He touched it a few times. He said, okay, thanks. Your car is downstairs waiting on you. And it seemed like he puffed into a purple cloud of smoke and disappeared. And I was like, oh, and I looked outside. I had a limo waiting for me. I said, oh, so this is my new life? Okay, well, here we go. And the rest was history.
Wow. And you were 18 at this time?
I was 18 going on 19.
Amazing. Yep. Wow, there's so much into what you just said. But God. Now, let me ask you, let me go back. Were you, I would assume you were a fan of Prince. I mean, you obviously knew who Prince was. You're from the 80s.
I knew who he was, but I was not a fan. I knew his popular stuff, but like, Little Red. I remember watching Kiss on TV, and I was like, dang, that's a little guy. And look at him, and he's very sexual,
Right.
But I was not a fan. All my other friends, like, they wore the buttons and the T-shirts and the this, but no, I wasn't a fan. And I think that's what allowed me to stay around him so long, because I wasn't geeked out. I wasn't a fan. I was Kim, the God in me saw the God in him, and I knew that he was somebody, but I wasn't all tripped out over who he was.
Got it.
And I think that he appreciated me for that, because he wanted to be treated like a regular person.
Okay, I understand. Now, you said his brother. Was this Dwayne? Is that the gentleman's name?
Who?
You said you kept mentioning his brother. Was that Dwayne Nelson?
Oh, his brother, Dwayne Nelson. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, shout out to him. Now, so you get to Paisley Park. I just got to go back a little bit. I mean, getting there that first time, seeing all of that, they got you in that room. I love how you just said, I just had to go back to my home training and sit right down and wait for them to call me. Like, I ain't going to be all over this place messing with stuff, trying a jacket on.
Right.
So
I sat there and stared. I said, I know this is part of the audition too. I said, they think that I don't know. I have a camera on me. I did not move. I sat right there.
So this would be, is this going on the nude tour? Graffiti Bridge area?
This was right after Diamonds and Pearls.
Oh, this is after Diamonds and Pearls.
Yes, right on the heels of it.
Okay, so he had that whole is it the typhoon hairstyle?
He had long hair at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the first look that you sort of created for Prince in terms of the hairstyle?
We started with streaks and color. Like I said, his hair was long at that point, so we were shampooing and conditioning, but he had been dark for so many years, so he was saying, what do you think if I add some color? So we always collaborated on what move he should make next as far as his hair, care was concerned. So we went into color after that. And after the 1999 tour, that's when the 1999 show, the big show where all the old performers came back and performed with him. The day after, he walked in and he said, you know what, I think I'm ready to go short. And I said, you are not cutting all this pretty hair off. And he was like, yeah, Kim, I think I'm ready to cut it off. He said, it only look good when I play my guitar. So he said, I'm over it. Let's cut it off. And I was like, oh, no. So I wanted to weep for him. But we went on and gave him the signature short haircut that he loved so much. And then we went into the short phase after that.
Now, who came up with that? I want to say this was around. Hold on, I don't know if you have me on a speakerphone or something. You got a big echo going on.
Let me see here. Hold on. Hello?
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if this was around 94 or so. This is kind of I think when around he changed his name, but this is when he like really came with that short hair, like I call it a Halle Berry look. Now I don't know what it was really called, but Is that something that you did too when he came with that real short hair?
Absolutely.
What spawned that? Did he just come to you and say, "Hey, I want to do something short"? Does he come with pictures or something? Like, how do you guys sort of work to get that?
You got your keys? Yes. Yeah, he just was ready to go short. Like I said, after that 1999 concert, he just decided, that he was over it. He said, I'm ready to go short. He said that hair looked good for the guitar. He said, but other than that, I'm ready to take it down.
Okay. Now, so are you with him like through all the 90s and everything too, right?
Absolutely, yes. I was hired in 90. I believe it was 90, end of 91.
Okay. So
yeah, because it was Christmas Eve.
So you getting to work with him through like the Gold Experience and
oh yeah, that's all my work. Yeah.
We have Mai Tay and everything. Now, do you do just his hair, or are you sometimes working on other people's hair in the group as well?
Yeah, I did the whole band. Yeah, it was just me. And then at one point throughout the tour, they decided to bring on, additional hairstylists. But then they were always trying to figure out where to cut a dollar, where to make the budget work for the tour. So they wind up coming to hair and makeup first. So they got rid of everybody, and Kim was the one left, And so, yeah, I would be running from one hall to the next trying to get everybody done before sometime.
And in terms of like when you're working with Prince, because I mean, from the outside, he's just clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't never come out looking crazy, and everything is in place. Never. How does that work? So do you start with him like in the morning, or is it just like a thing where like, yo, Kim, we going to such and such before I step out to the public? You got to touch my
person at all. Yeah, he wasn't a morning person at all. I called him a vampire because he moved at night. So usually about 2:00 in the afternoon is when he starts stirring. So I knew every day around that time to make myself available to him. And then that's when we would go into getting his hair prepped and getting him ready for the show. And then usually about showtime, which is 8:00, he goes on. So in between, 4 and 8, I have time to do the band, and then run back, and then that would include Mai Tay, Tommy Barbarella, Michael Bland, you know. So I would be running, like I said, running up and down hallways trying to get everybody, fly for the show. So, yep, that's about how it worked. And at 8:00, then we would do a part, the concert, and then the after party. Then he would have to get touched up, and then so he could come back for the after party. Right. And then, everybody, 7:00 in the morning, we going to bed. So he eating dinner and on his way to bed when most people are getting up. So, yeah. So we moved throughout the night.
What was it like going to the different cities? Like, would you have to set up shop in another salon, or would you do it in a hotel?
Absolutely, yeah. We would always either we'll shut down a whole salon. I would rent the whole salon and shut it out, or I would try to find salons that had private rooms. So every time, and then after so many years, I had a routine of who I would use. So I knew if I was coming to Detroit, I would use this salon. If I was coming to, Vegas, I knew to call this particular person. So I had a routine after a while of who had private rooms and whose salon was feasible for me to shut down. Or if push come to shove, I would just, we would do it in his hotel room. But he would prefer to go to a salon so he could relax and use all the amenities of the salon.
Okay. Now you told a great story of like how you started working with him and all that, and I heard you talk about this on another thing. So I want to ask you this, but here's my question to you: did you tell him how much you were worth, or did he tell you? How did that work? Yeah,
I believe he told me. He had to teach me exactly what I was worth. I was so excited. And, I was charging peanuts, So as I walked into the industry and started to meet other celebrity hairstylists, they would ask me, how much are you making? And, and I'm like, oh, yeah, a little bit of nothing. And they were like, no, sweetheart, no. But, I was a kid. I got hired when I was a kid. So I didn't know what to charge and what the going rates were. I came literally out the hood, out of beauty college, and started working for one of the biggest entertainers in the world. So I didn't know, so I had to be trained. I grew up on the road. He instilled in me. So he would tell me, yeah, Kim, well, when you go work for other people, just by virtue of working for me, you can charge whatever you want. And I was like, huh? So I had to get that into my spirit as well.
Like, so how did, what would be, listen, so we don't know Prince. We just see that what we see on TV or whatever. But you talking to him, or you are probably in a more personal position than a lot of people would be. I mean, you doing the man's hair. So, I mean, what kind of cat was he like? I mean, was he a real type of dude? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to gauge, like, how was your experience with him? Did you guys walk on eggshells, or was he like a real cool type of cat?
He was a celebrity, by no sense of the word. Were you too able, relax. Now, we would have some days where everybody was laughing and joking, bagging on each other's mamas. You know, you always had some of your mama jokes in the back room, so that was a no-brainer.
Okay.
So he was healthy. The dude was creative. He was a musical genius, you know, way ahead of his time. So his wisdom, you know, outweighed a lot of the cats in the industry. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we grew up together, but then it would be some days where he would walk in, he'd sit down, he's not speaking to you. That means that's the day I'm going to do his hair and get the hell out of his way, you know? So I knew that he had something heavy on his mind. So he was deep in thought, you know. He had some asshole days like all the rest of us. He put his pants on like everybody else, you know. So some days you would get chewed out, but you knew that this man was about his business because he was a shrewd businessman. He didn't play. Didn't cut no corners. He was about his money. That's one thing for sure. He didn't play with them record companies taking his money. He didn't play with no lawyers, no accountants. He was watching everybody. So he showed me how to be business as well. So that was a great learning experience for me as a youth coming up, you know. Watching him move and watching him, you know, make moves in the industry. The man was astounding. And just seeing him, like I said, he was a lover, he was a playboy, he was an artist, he was you know, so I got to see all phases of him, you know. I saw him when he was sad. I saw him when he was happy. I saw him when he was grooving and, you know, with some of the biggest entertainers in the world on stage and in studio. So the man was incredible. It was like I tell people, it was a blessing and a curse. I miss my family, but at the same token, what I went through, people only read about in books, you know, the land walked on and where I traveled, people have still only read about. I've been everywhere in the world with this man many times over. So it was an incredible experience. Okay.
And in terms of, I heard you talk about his generosity before. Yes. And I was going to ask you about that, but also, did your family ever get it? You know, I was wondering how did you have to, you were away from your family a lot? Or was there opportunities where, you know, your family got to meet him or come and see where you work or things of that nature?
Oh, yeah. I was able to bring my family out. So whatever city I landed in, if I had family members there, I was, able to bring them to the shows. So they got to come and hang around him. And, you know, he would come in and speak and say hi. You know, he's not a real touchy-feely guy. You couldn't get that close to him. But he would come in and, you know, thank everybody for coming to the show. And then, you know, he would disappear. You know, as quick as he showed up, he would disappear. So... yeah, he was that dude, you know, and then he afforded me the opportunity to bring, like, once I had my daughter was able to travel with me on the road, and, you know, so he was a generous man. So, yeah, his philanthropy that he didn't allow anyone to speak of, so now that he has passed on, you're starting to hear about all the great things that he did for all the people in the world, but the dude was a giver, you know, he was always giving, he didn't want anyone to know, he was the type of dude that moved in silence. You know, but you never heard about that in publicity, you know, but, and that's the great part, because he didn't deal with publicity in the first place. So his business was his business. And that's what kept that mystique about him, was because no one knew how he moved, you know, and we as employees of his kept his secrets, you know, and not because he told us to, but just because we knew that's what type of dude he was. And so that's, you know, we follow suit.
It was out of respect, you know, for a lot of it was respectful. You know, here, let me switch it up a little bit. Now, did you ever have? Now, here's the thing. I saw the picture that recently came out where you were doing his hair. I think where you were braiding his hair. And I used to always say, that's the one picture we never would see of Prince with some rollers in his hair or just getting his hair done. Like, you ain't gonna never see that side of the game. So I was kind of shocked when I saw that picture come out. Well, I wanted to ask you, was there ever a time that you guys talked, or at least thought about, yo, what if I just cut my hair, like get a fade, or let me cut all the hair off or something? Was there ever a conversation about that?
I mean, well, anytime we switch from one hairstyle to another, we would always have to go through. What do you think about this? What, I was thinking about that, so we would collab back and forth on what he wanted, whether it be color, whether it be, that hair, that braided style. That was Raven to the Joy Fantastic album, and I hated those braids. I said, but exactly, buckwheat braids. Are you serious? And because he was so tender-headed, he would to make them neat. He was like, no, just pick it up and grab it and just braid it. So I was like, oh, Lord. But sure enough, when we go to the concert, there would be 50 females in the audience with their hair just like his. Like, I said, that is crazy that one man could have that much power. I was like, that is amazing.
It was like, I don't know, was it trying to be like on some like dread look or?
No,
I don't know what was going on.
He didn't want his home. He was so tender-headed. He was like, just pick it up and braid it.
Hilarious.
No, let me at least make the parts neat. He was like, no, Kim, no. I was like, oh, my goodness. So, like I said, he was hella me. I was like, I said, people are not going to believe this. So Steve Parks, who was the photographer at that time, we were actually in the middle of doing a photo shoot. And when he told us to braid his hair, so he said, you want Steve to take a picture of us? Of you doing my hair, and I was like, yeah. And so he said, no, just kidding, but he didn't know Steve had already snapped the shot. So that's how that picture got taken. Now Steve held on to that picture for all these years, and now he's done a coffee table book, and that's how the picture got released.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have
you
Steve
would
pretty
see
soon.
That picture of Prince ever.
Yeah, that's why I was always like, now you're gonna never see him in no salon.
No, ever. You would never see. He was never going to let you catch him in the in-between stage. Never.
Hilarious. Now, did you do his makeup or stuff too, or does he do that himself? Or
no, he had certain people that would come on and would do the makeup, but for the most part, that man knew every aspect of his business. He could beat his face better than any makeup artist ever could. Okay. But the dude could run a camera. He could play every instrument. He could do his makeup. He really could do his hair if he wanted to. He was just spoiled and had me on deck at all times. So.
That's hilarious.
But he was smart as hell. He watched everybody. He knew how everybody moved. Like he knew. He was just on it.
Was there? I heard you mention that you guys were creating some sort of hair products or something.
Yes, we were in the process of creating a hairline, and I'm going to continue and bring that to fruition in the next. It's going to be about a year or so before we bring it completely to the market. Okay.
Now, is this something particularly for African American hair, or is this going to be for everybody, or you can even talk about that?
It's going to be all the way across the board, mostly finishing products, but and a lot of stuff for natural hair. So. It's going to go all the way across the board. So that's the great part about it, because his hair wasn't kinky, his hair wasn't curly, So we also had a phase where we were relaxing his hair. So it has to cover all the way across the board.
And let me ask you, and I'm going to date myself. Like I said, I'm from '88, so I came up in the world where Michael Jackson, Prince. Cats was running around, and you was from L.A., so I ain't got to tell you about no Jerry curls and all that.
Right.
So I had one of those back then. I was that one brother sitting in the salon with a female.
Oh no, I think it's everybody. Yes.
And I'm thinking I had my hair on some Prince stuff, but I really just had this juice in my head. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. Running around following the drip.
Right.
But I mean, I always try to understand. Like my man Prince, he was getting his hair done. That was his whole style. Like it was just forever, always having a new do and stuff. Did he ever think was there ever just, I don't know, what did you think about that? If you can even speak on that. I don't know if you kind of know what I'm saying, like getting the different hairstyles. I mean, he was still like a man's man, and it was a weird sort of dynamic. What I'm talking about? It's a weird sort of thing where it's like he had these hairstyles that most cats couldn't even pull off. Let's be very clear,
nobody
right?
but him.
But he was able to do that. Like, why do you think that was from your person doing his hair?
Right, and it was just amazing. Like I said, I think you have to be confident within yourself, because nobody could pull that off but Prince. Like, you know, James Brown had his term, but everybody knew he was a man. You didn't come to James Brown no other type of way.
Right.
You know, Michael Jackson had his curl, you know, but Prince never did the curl. He went straight from just straight blow dry into relaxers and into, you know, whatever else that he tried, you know, but he had every hairstyle that any woman could ever think of. Prince tried it. Ponytails, you name it, finger waves, Prince tried it, you know, braids, he did all that. So, but it was like every man wanted to be him and every woman wanted him. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of people that tried relaxers because Prince had a relaxer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was a trendsetter. He stayed ahead of the curve at all times. He didn't play no games, and he stayed fly at all times. And he didn't care what nobody said about it. He was gonna try this. Okay, now I'm gonna jump off into this. Okay, now what do you think about that? Okay, now let's go try some color. Let's get some streaks. What about a heavy bang? What about this? You know, so he had no problem trying any hairstyle that any woman would ever get. And like I said, whatever he would get a few nights later, you would see the women in the audience exactly like him.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. I remember being in an elevator with some women one time. They were like, I wonder who does his hair. And I wanted to say so bad, oh, it's me, you know. But I just kept the secret. I just smiled. They were like, his hair is so banging. You ain't never seen a hair out of place. And this, that, oh, they were bragging on him so hard. And I was like, yep, thank you for popping my collar.
Okay.
And I just came on out the elevator in silence, you know.
Wow. Now, as we got into the later years of Prince, you know, we started to see that Afro come back, you know, going back to the original look. I mean, were you around for the conversations of that? Did he just was like, you know what, yo, I want to do this now? Or what, how was that working?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, he had Andy Allo and Esperanza Spalding, who had came in with the big fros. You know, he was starting to hang around a lot of women that were doing naturally curly hair. So he was like, I think I want to try Afro. And I'm like, no, let's not do that. He said, yeah, I think I just want to take a break for a while. Because like I said, he was tender-headed, so he really enjoyed the fact that he didn't have to get his hair combed every day. Because, you know, with the perms and the relaxers, we had to keep him intact all the time. So we cut him off short, cut off the relaxer, and then he started to grow out his fro. So you seen it go from the baby fro. But even still with his afro, we still colored and cut him and made sure that he was maintained, kept his ends clipped, and kept it, you know, conditioned and all this stuff. Because a lot of people in this natural phase, they think, oh, I'm just go natural and I don't have to do anything to it. No, you still need juices and berries. Don't fool yourself. You're going to need to keep that hair soft and keep that hair shiny. So, yeah, that's why we decided not only with your relaxer do you need good hair products, but you're also going to need good hair products for your natural look as well, because it needs to be soft. Your curls need to be manageable. They need to be able to be combed out. Your hair should be touchable. So that was one of the things that made us start sitting down and talking about, you know, coming up with this hair care line. He's like, Kim, what is it that I can do to help you get to the next phase of your life? He said, what can we create? What can we make? And so that's when we started about the, you know, the hair care line. And also we opened up 2 salons together in Los Angeles. So
really? That
was also great too. Oh yeah, absolutely. So one was called the First Lady Elite Salon and Spa. And the second salon was Indulgent Concepts in L.A. on the west side.
Are these still open?
That was part of it. No. So now I've decided to go freelance, and so now I'm just traveling with other artists and you know, doing my thing.
Oh, okay, wow. All right, so y'all opened up salons, started a business, and taking it to the next level. That's what's up. Okay,
right.
Wow.
Yeah. Because he was always trying to encourage everyone that worked for him. What can I help you do? What business what is it that you would like to do? So if it was the guitar tech, he was like, why don't you design a guitar? Why don't you come out with a guitar and let's start a business? You know, everybody around him, he was encouraging you and pushing you to go to the next level, not just be what you were with him, but what can I do to help you get to the next level? So he was always encouraging everybody to move to the next level.
Okay, that's great, man. I mean, wow, because he didn't have to do that.
Right, absolutely.
But that speaks to the kind of man that he was.
Right.
So you worked with him for 28 years. Can you speak of like why you moved on to other things, or?
Oh no, I was with him up until the time of his death.
Oh, okay. So my bad.
Yeah, 2 weeks before I was still with him.
Wow. Okay, man.
Yeah.
What? If you don't mind me asking, and trust me, if it's too much, you don't have to, whatever. But like, where were you at when you heard this news? Were you still in Minneapolis, or were you back home?
No, I was in Los Angeles. I traveled back and forth to him. So whenever it was time to make a move and to go, he would just call me and say, meet me in New York, meet me in, Paris, meet me wherever. So that's how I got down. But I was based in Los Angeles, and I flew to him wherever he needed me. So I was here in L.A., and I was actually at a barbershop hanging out. And one of my friends called me, and I was driving down the street, and he said, what are you doing? I said, driving down the street, I'm headed to this barbershop. And he says, well, I need you to pull over. And I said, pull over for what? He said, have you seen the news? And I'm like, no. And he's like, I think you need to look up TMZ. And I'm like, for what? So, I looked on there and it said fatality in Paisley Park, but I'm thinking, it probably was somebody that was hanging out with him, never thinking that it would be him. And then one of my boys, who's a cameraman at CBS, he said, Kim, I'm getting ready to go live in 5 minutes, and I want you to know before anybody else tells you. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, well, I've seen the news. It said a fatality, but it's not him. And he said, Kim, the coroner just pulled off. It is Prince. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And he said, the coroner just pulled off. It's Prince. And I lost it. I was done for about 3 hours. I was stuck on stupid, screaming and hollering and crying. I could not believe it. And I was, oh my God, so devastated, because that's the last thing in the world I would have ever thought of. The last thing in the world. That was our running joke. He would tell us all the time, because people was like, oh, you look so young and you're so vital, you're vital and this, that, and the other. He's like, Kim, I'm going to live forever. I don't know what's going to happen to the rest of y'all. So that was our running joke at Paisley Park, so I was just like, dead? What? So that just blew me away. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I can only imagine knowing him how that felt. I never met him like that, but I'm devastated, man. It's just unbelievable. Still unbelievable.
As I said, I can't believe it. It's about to be a year long. Right. April 21st, they're having a big celebration at Paisley Park to celebrate a year of his death. I don't know why they're doing it for his death, but yeah, so I'll be there again speaking on the panel on all things Prince. So I'm excited about that, to be back at Paisley, see all my old coworkers, and I like I said, I can't believe it. I still can't believe it.
What do you think? What do you think people should know about Prince in terms of his legacy, in terms of the music, and also in terms of the man?
First of all, he loved God, and because he loved God, he loved God's people. He was always trying to help. He was always trying to take care of. He was always trying to figure out what he could do to be a blessing to someone else. That's a lot of what people didn't know. Like I said, the philanthropy part of him, of how he was a giver. We would be driving down the street, and he would tell the limo driver, pull over. And if he saw a homeless person on the side of the street, he would hand them $100 or a stack of money, whatever he had on him, because he was just like, I can get this. That person can't. Give this to them. Where we would collect coats. Love for One Another Foundation was his foundation, and we would collect coats and blankets and all this kind of stuff, and give coats to whatever city we were in. He would go and give coats and blankets to the homeless, and people never knew, like I said, that he moved in silence. He took care of people. Not only just his crew and his family members, they weren't really close, but yet and still his family was taken care of. He took care of our families. It was a well-oiled machine that this man knew that he was responsible for so many things. He knew that God had entrusted him to bring music to the world, but he had also had to be a giver and had to give back to the world. So that's what a lot of people don't know about him. Not only was he a musical genius, but he was also a giver. He was also, a blessing to the world. Okay.
And that just reminds me of something I wanted to ask you. Because you have worked with him so personally over the years, did you ever, and you brought up God, did you guys ever have opportunities where, I don't know if it was Bible study, but at least having these conversations about spirituality and things of that nature? Because I know a lot of his, you just glean it from his music that a lot of his stuff in his music talks about it. I'm just curious, like in his personal, did you guys really ever just sit down and have these deep conversations about any of these types of matters?
Absolutely. I mean, that was one of the main things. He was extremely spiritual, so I know that he loved God. the religion. He towards the end, he kind of came out of religion, so quote unquote. He knew that it was about his relationship, with the Creator, and so that was a beautiful thing. When Larry Graham came around, he got more into the Jehovah's Witness aspect of things. He had got really deep into that. He had said that at some point he had studied so hard because the man was a genius. He studied every religion. He studied literally hypnotists, and he studied mind travel. He studied Hinduism and Buddhism and, every religion he studied. But like they said, all roads lead back to God, that he knew that there was one Creator. We had conversations about it all. We talked to, he's like, literally, Kim, if you imagine yourself to be in Hawaii, he said, you can be in Hawaii. Like, we talked about mind travel, So we had our moments, and it got really deep. And then sometimes we would go back and forth and battle about what he knew about the Bible and what I knew about the Bible. Okay. So he was like, Kim, you come talk to my elders. I said, no, you need to come talk to my elders.
That's some real talk right there. Right.
Yeah, but he knew when we came to a stalemate, he'd be like, Kim, like, I'm leaving. So we would have our moments where it got really deep, but then, it would still be funny and lighthearted. Right. But yeah, the man loved God. He knew who he was. He knew that he was a vessel that was created to bring music and love to the world. And man.
Wow. Amazing. Kim Berry, you said 29 years?
29 years.
Wow, that's a school. That's a life experience. That's an opportunity. Indeed. I mean, that's a movie. Just being 18, coming from South Central, and my man say, you ready to go? The limo coming in an hour.
Right.
That's
right.
Boom.
Like, wasn't no second guessing with him. You had to be ready to go. He didn't play that. So that's why he said, is there a problem? I said, oh, no problem. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I said, oh, Lord, what am I about to do? So, and my life, literally, that's what I said when I asked my mom. I said, who lives like this? And she said, you do. And that's when the reality hit me, like, this is a whole another game right here, And he said, Kim, by virtue of everything I have, you already have it. Like, he had to open my mind to see greater things, to, that. Sorry.
Oh, you good.
Oh, my God.
No, that what you were just sharing, that's speaking to so many people, because I'm feeling you through that. Like, there's been opportunities that we have in our lives, and sometimes we don't do what you did, right? And we missed them blessings, but it's great to hear somebody that took that, and then a man that you could trust to say, okay, I got this, I got you, you coming, this is your opportunity. This is going to put your generations on to blessings going forward. So all I can do is, like I said, my heart goes out to you because I understand what you're saying. I feel you so much. Yeah, I mean, he was a blessing.
And it was just a blessing for him to trust me, to open his heart to his family, to his love life, to his, would have been his son. And, like, we experienced so much together. Like, I was there when his mother died and his father died, when his brother died, when his son died. Like, I was there, like, and I bless God that God allowed me to share that part of his life with him. And it was just amazing to be able to travel that part of his journey with him.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lifetime of, I mean, he was gone too soon, but it was a lifetime of stuff that had happened even within the time he was here.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot, for us looking into it, there's a lot to learn from how to handle yourself during situations, because I can just only imagine, things with the son, and I can't even comprehend like losing my mom and dad because how much they mean to me. So being able to going through all of these things and being one of the most recognizable people on the planet, can be a lot to go through. So I can only tip my hat to him. It's wow. Like, if you got to handle situations, here's an example of one way of how a man did it. And, I always look at Prince too. At the end of the day, to me, he was a black man who was extremely gifted in something, but he also took sort of his innate gifts from God, but he mastered those gifts and made them better. You know what I'm saying? Like made them sacrifice himself to be what he was, you know, to be so
Absolutely.
good at what he did. So, it's amazing. He's an amazing person. Who knows if we'll ever get anything else like that ever in our lifetime, you know?
Yeah, I doubt it. I said that, you know, you get them great stars that streak across the sky. You see those, those solar blasts, and I believe that Prince was one of those blasts. So it'll be something else, but it'll never be another Prince. Right, and, you know, I remember one time he used to clown Michael Jackson all the time, and he would say, you first got to be a prince before you can become a king, you know? Right. So I was glad that I was able to share in his, you know, his royal, lifetime. That it was an incredible journey. Incredible journey.
Well, I can say we wrap this up. You were there, Kim. Yeah. And you know what? I can tell you, I tell like some of the other people, guard that too at the same point. And I know that you do. But make sure that I want to make sure that they always have somebody like you around, because I can just listening to you sound like a real person. You know what I'm saying? When I say real person, I mean, listen, I can relate to everything you're talking about. So that would let me know that Prince, under all of whatever we may have thought about him, he was still a real guy and dealt with real people. So I want to make sure they always have people like you there that can really make sure that the legacy is held with the respect and honesty. I think that's important. So,
absolutely.
Again, thank you for coming on. I was also going to mention too, and I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, who else could she have done their hair? And I was off the top of my head, I was like, I could see somebody like DJ Quick, but then I found out that you actually did work with DJ Quick. Is that right?
Yes, DJ Quick. Cat Williams is one of my regular clients, and he clowns one of his parts of his show, says that he's the only person left with a perm now that Prince is gone, you know. So that's one of the jokes. So, Cat is one of my regular clients. Okay. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of people, Lily Allen, Monica, I've been afforded a lot of opportunities to work with a lot of different celebrities. You name it, I've worked with them. You know, Mac 10, Mario, Usher, Neo. So it's been a beautiful experience. You know, he opened the doors for me to be able to touch a lot of other people.
That's what's up. Now, where can people want to hit you up on social media? Because I know they will after hearing this. Where is the best places they can find you online?
I am Kim B on set number 2, KIM, the letter B, ONSET number 2 on IG. So you can find me on Instagram there. And then on Facebook, I'm under Kim Berry. And I also have a Facebook business page that is Kim Berry. And if you type in Kim B on set on Google, all of those pages will pop up. So I'm looking forward to seeing the people. And I also have a book coming out. So I'm writing a book. It's called Diamonds and Clues. So that's your exclusive. You're the first person to know about that.
Right on. Thank you. Is this coming out this year, next year? Or when?
It's gonna probably be out. We're working on trying to get it out definitely before Christmas.
Okay.
So
I'm
on top of things, and it's gonna be, you know, my journey with Prince. You know, so everybody has their story. He's had a lot of people that's worked with him, but you know, I have the opportunity to work close with him as I have, and it will be a love, you know, to my brother. Nothing scandalous, nothing salacious. You're not going to hear anything like that. It will be the part of Prince that no one knew about, that intimate portrait of Prince. Okay. The main.
Yeah, you have a unique experience with them, so yeah, definitely want to read that. That's what's up. We'll have to have you back on when that gets ready to drop to talk about that.
Yeah.
I was also going to tell you too, just because it just came to me listening to. You know what, you could I see you like teaching or something, or like, I don't know, like mentoring or something. I don't know if you're already doing that. Yeah, I can see you.
I've done it in the past. I've been platform artist for different hair care companies, and different. Gina Rivera has allowed me to be an educator for 3 Deluxe LRC hair company. I've been an educator for them, so I definitely want to parlay all of this, my experience as a celebrity hairstylist and working in the industry, into the next level. So that's what I said. He was always pushing us into, what can I do to make you greater? And I truly believe that this will be another stepping stone for me to push me into that next level of what's left, of my destiny.
Yeah, I hear it when you talk, and I think I also really hear, like I said, I think I hear what your dad instilled in you too, early on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's needed. All right, Kim, thank you once again. I really appreciate it. Well, stay in touch. Hopefully maybe I'll run into you in April at the celebration thing. I might be out.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. We have to have a cocktail or something.
Yeah, we'll chop it up. All right.
That'll be a blessing. Have a great day, and thank you guys. Thank you, listeners, for having me on.
All right. Thank you, Kim. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, man, that was a deep one. That's something I'm gonna have to sit down and listen to that again myself. But listen, before we get out of here, I want to say thanks to Kim Berry one more time for sharing that with us, because she didn't have to do that, and we really appreciate that. So you guys heard her information, so hit her up and tell her thank you for coming on the show and sharing that information. Shout out to all our listeners and all our donators out there. Please keep supporting us. Like I do every time, I really appreciate you listening. Work it like a job. I'm going to see you next time. Peace.
How would you describe your music? What idiom would you put it in?
The only thing I could think of, because I really don't like categories, but the only thing I could think of is inspirational. And I think music that is from the heart falls right into that category. People who really feel what it is that they're doing. And ultimately, all music is or can be inspirational, and that's why it's so important to let your gift be guided by something more clear.